While freedom of sexual orientation is enshrined in the South African Constitution, it does not always translate to equality within society. Victimization, sexual assault and murder is still prevalent. In commending the UN for the campaign, Archbishop Tutu said such discrimination is as unjust as racism.
I am as passionate about this campaign as I ever was about apartheid. For me, it is at the same level that we in our country would never really be truly free. Yes, we've made a very good start with the Constitution, but we should become a society where people are free to be who God made them to be.
Justice Cameron says the campaign is a breakthrough and the importance can't be overemphasized. He says it remains dangerous to speak out because of persistent prejudice and especially criminal prohibitions in 76 countries, some including the death penalty.
It is to enlighten, it is to destigmatize, and it is to encourage people. It's to encourage governments to stop stigmatizing, to stop violence, to stop criminalizing laws. But it's also to encourage people like me. I'm a gay man. Across our continent, across our world, between 5 and 10% of people are LGBTI, and it's to encourage them to let their voices be heard and to become visible.
The campaign is the result of a study commissioned by the UN 2 years ago on the continued violence and discrimination suffered by the LGBT community.
Many populations are not ready to recognize LGBT people as people entitled to rights. That's why we do have to begin with education of people. I was educated. I was once prejudiced because I didn't know. I had no idea.
The media, outspoken leaders and celebrities will be part of the international campaign. Mariska Botha, SABC News, Cape Town.
Joining us from our Pretoria studio is Advocate Joyce Maluleke, who's the Special Advisor to the Minister of Women, Children and People with Disabilities, Lulu Qingwana. A very good evening to you and thank you for your time. Now that South Africa has been identified as the launch country for this program, one almost feels we have a responsibility to set a global example. What is the ministry doing to ensure that we make inroads in this battle of hate crimes against people of different sexual orientation?
The minister has launched a campaign called Orange Day. On the 25th of every month, there's a campaign in different provinces where the minister discusses issues of domestic violence, sexual offenses, issues of LGBTIs, so that people are aware that people are different in South Africa and our constitution affirms diversity. So the fact that people are different doesn't mean that people do not have rights. But also, there are many programs in the department which focus on domestic violence, on public education, on looking at the policy, because the responsibility of the department is to ensure that government program, because the department doesn't implement. All other departments implement, but the department monitors and it ensures that government program is integrated and coordinated so that people do not fall through the cracks because of disintegrated programs.
Now, after the latest reported hate crime where a 26-year-old lesbian was found dead with a toilet brush in her vagina, the DA in Cape Town issued a rather scathing attack on the department, saying although established over 6 months ago, the National Council Against Gender-Based Violence within the department has done very little to visibly deliver on its mandate despite a 20 million rand budget. What's your reaction to that?
I'll also repeat again that the department doesn't implement. Also, the National Council on Gender-Based Violence doesn't implement. It monitors, it coordinates. So the responses from different governments will determine the pace at which it moves.
There seems to be a low conviction rate when it comes to crimes of this nature. What would you say is the reason for that?
Firstly, witnesses because conviction depends on the investigation, but also witnesses coming forth in terms of who committed the crime. Even yesterday, we were with the minister at Thokoza. The investigating officers indicated that there are no witnesses, or some they would allege someone to be the perpetrator. And when they investigate, they find that there's nothing that ties that person to the crime. And you know that in terms of our laws, the prosecution should prove beyond reasonable doubt that that alleged perpetrator is guilty. So if there is there are no witnesses and there's no evidence, unfortunately, they cannot convict. But the other thing that they raised, the LGBTI group, they said it's because they are afraid. So it is clear that they do not know about the witness protection program.
Let's talk a little bit. Sorry, let's, if I can interject there, let's talk a little bit about the actual launch, where Archbishop Tutu said he doesn't support a homophobic God and that churches must come on board to ensure the success of this initiative. Would you agree with his sentiment? Do you think that this initiative really needs the backing of religious leaders?
Yes, it does. Because God is love. God loves everybody. God doesn't discriminate irrespective of whatever. So if people are going to claim that they are Christians, then they have to love people despite their differences.
Thank you very much for your time. That was Advocate Joyce Maluleke, who's the Special Advisor to the Minister of Women, Children and People with Disabilities, Lulu Qingwa.